that $25,000 number. The rest of it is association fees, food, gas, car insurance, mortgage, property insurance, all of the basic expenses that I need, right? So $25,000, he's like, yes. He goes, I would absolutely, in 2025 and maybe even 2026, use your cash. And he goes, for the year and two after that, you could use your Roth IRA. Because I've already paid taxes on that, and then I would have many years where I have like a 0% tax bill, or a zero tax bill in the early years of retirement. Now, remember, to get the tax credits, I have to show $15,000 of income, so I would probably sell some shares in my my brokerage account. Let me back up, because what he said and what I learned yesterday is that, remember I said I've got my 401k with Lincoln Financial, even though it's in a Vanguard target fund. He advised that maybe a month or two after I retire, so March of 2025, to roll over my 401k from Lincoln to Vanguard. And I learned something really significant. I thought it was so interesting. My 401k right now is $800,000. That $800,000 comprises of pre-tax and post-tax money, meaning post-tax meaning a Roth portion, because as of, I think, 2008, the government said you could put your money into a 401k with after-tax money, just like a regular Roth IRA that I have as well. So when I look at the balance now, $600,000 is pre-tax money, which I have not yet paid taxes on, and $200,000 is the Roth. So he said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to open up a traditional IRA with Vanguard and let it sit there. Just open it up. It's free. It doesn't cost any money to do that. And when the time comes in March of next year, what I will do is I will contact Lincoln and I'll say, okay, I want to roll that over to and work longer until they're like 67 and then do Social Security. But he said, you know what, if I were you, I would take Social Security early at 62. Because that will cover most of your expenses. My Social Security at 62 would be about $20,000 a year, and I only needed, remember, the 25 for true expenses, and of course it'll be more by that time, but with inflation and all. But basically he's like, you have so much money in Roth, you've got so much money in pre-tax, we're going to let that sit for a long time. You don't have to take money out of that account until you turn 73. That's because you've got RMDs, required minimum distributions, because Uncle Sam wants to get paid. He's like, you'll be able to live like 10 years on the Roth IRA alone and let that other money grow. And you can actually, he actually told me to stop being frugal. It's something that I will have to learn and think about over the next 4 months, because, for those of us that have been saving and investing for me, it's been 18 years. Oh, and by the way, I wanted to share with you that I hit him up and I said, Chris, I didn't start this until I was 40 years old. And he was like, wow, you have done a really good job. And I'm not saying this to like fluff my own feathers. I'm sharing this with you guys because I want you to know what's possible in the future with your money. And he said one of the best things that I did was I put my money in a lot of different buckets. Not only buckets meaning asset allocation, but different, pre and post-tax buckets. You want to get to a point in the future where you have money, like I talked about, in a pre-tax bucket, in a post-tax bucket, a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, because it's going to give you so many options when it comes to the distribution phases, and it does position yourself to retire early. Because you have money in different buckets and you can pull that and you have less taxes, etc. So, as I think about closing this episode, guys, I just wanted to, give you the date and share with you that I did make that decision, that over the next 4 months, I'm going to be continuing to talk to you about how you can continue to save and invest and motivate you guys to do well with money. But I'll also be sharing with you what my thoughts are, because, as you get close to retirement and stop at work, it's scary. Even though I know the numbers work, it's still kind of a scary time, but it's also a very exhilarating time where you look at the results of everything you've done and you start to think about spending money. Like he told me I could spend even more than like $4,000 a month if I wanted to, and I only need about $2,000 a month. So that's what I'm going to think about over the next 4 months, is what am I comfortable with? Knowing me, as I've shared with you, I think before, I probably won't go crazy, but I'll get back into the things that I love, like working out, swimming, doing all sorts of things that I have put on the wayside, as I've talked about. And I'll focus on, giving myself that downtime, maybe 6 months, to think about what do I really want to do. So I'll leave you with this. The reason, again, why I'm sharing this with you is that as you continue to save and invest, let this motivate you. Because you'll get to a point in your 40s and in your 50s where you're going to be like me. You're not going to want to work forever. You're going to want to do other things. And if you continue to spend all your money right now, and if you continue not to save and invest, you're not going to have those options. You won't be able to have an option to say, you know what, I can retire early. I'm going to make this work. You won't even allow yourself to think about it, because you'll have so much debt and so little savings that you'll know in your heart that it's not possible. But if you just do the work now, trust me, you'll get to a point future where